All right, let's get right into it. We're always told that success is all about skill and hard work, right? But what if the biggest factor, the one that really decides things, is something we can't even see or control? So today we're going to jump into a really powerful idea from Nassim Taleb's book, Fooled by Randomness. And it all boils down to this one simple question, a question that might just flip everything you think you know about success on its head. And to get to the bottom of this, let's look at a tale of two traders. I mean, these guys were neighbors, living right across the street from each other. But in reality, they might as well have been living in two totally different universes of risk. Okay, so on one side of the street, you've got Nero. He's this really thoughtful, super conservative trader. His main goal, it's not about getting crazy rich, it's just to stay in the game, to survive. And then you look across the street, and there's John. John is the high flyer. We're talking staggering wealth, the whole package. And his success was so massive, it actually made Nero start to question his own more modest path. You know, Nero was doing just fine for himself. He had a comfortable life. But he just couldn't escape the massive shadow cast by John's fortune. From the outside looking in, I mean, by every single metric you could see, John was the clear, undisputed winner. But here's the thing. Was John's success really what it looked like? Or was it all just an illusion? An illusion created by this really powerful cognitive bias that honestly clouds all of our judgment. It's called survivorship bias. So what is that? Well, think of it this way. We look at the one superstar winner, the Johns of the world, and we spin these incredible stories about their genius and their skill. But what we don't see, what we completely ignore, is the massive graveyard of all the other people who took the exact same risks and failed miserably. And this is where we get causality, cause and effect, completely backward. We look at a successful person and we just assume, oh, they must be good. But in reality, what's often happening is someone just gets lucky. And then, after the fact, we call them good. We mistake the traits of a lucky survivor for some kind of guaranteed recipe for success. Here's a perfect example. If you go study a bunch of millionaires, you're going to find they share a lot of the same traits, right? They're risk takers, they're persistent, they're confident. But, and this is the kicker, if you go study a group of people who went bankrupt, you'll find the exact same traits. Crazy, right? So that brings us back to John. What was really going on with his strategy? Well, to understand it, just imagine his job wasn't trading at all. Imagine he was getting paid to play a very, very specific game, a game of Russian roulette. See, John's strategy was incredibly seductive. It produced these nice, steady, impressive profits year after year. But what he was really doing was, well, Taleb calls it taking a siesta on a railway track. You're collecting all these small wins day in and day out while making one giant, hidden bet that a surprise, catastrophic train will never, ever come down those tracks. And that catastrophic train, that's what's known as a rare event or a black swan. We're talking about the market crash nobody saw coming, the political crisis that erupts overnight, the technological disruption that changes an entire industry, the thing that seems impossible right up into the moment it happens, and then in an instant changes everything. So you see, John's incredible track record, all those years of success, it wasn't proof that he was a genius. Nope. It was just evidence that every time he pulled the trigger, the chamber had been empty. So far. But here's where it gets even trickier. Reality is way more cruel than a simple game of Russian roulette with just 6 chambers. In the real world, it's like there are thousands of empty chambers. All those wins lull you into this dangerous false sense of security, right before one of them finally delivers the bullet. So for 7 straight years, the bullet missed John. Year after year, his strategy worked, his wealth ballooned, and his reputation as this brilliant visionary trader was pretty much set in stone, not just in other people's minds, but in his own too. And then, one day, it didn't. A black swan event hit the market. That surprise train he was betting against, it finally came roaring down the track, and it exposed the single catastrophic risk that had been hiding under the surface of his strategy the entire time. The result? Well, it was absolute devastation. In just a matter of days, John lost it all. The fortune, the monstrous house, the sports cars, everything. Gone. And Nero, the boring conservative trader who had actually prepared for a moment just like this, he was totally fine. His net worth was stable. This story isn't really just about two traders on Wall Street. It's a much bigger, timeless lesson. It's about how fragile luck is, how we think about risk, and what real wisdom looks like. And it was captured perfectly thousands of years ago by the ancient Greek lawmaker, Solon. The legend goes that Solon went to visit this unbelievably wealthy king named Croesus, and he warned him, he said, look, all this fortune is fickle. It can disappear in a flash. Of course, that was a lesson King Croesus only truly understood after he had lost his entire kingdom. So, what are the big takeaways here? What does this all mean for us? First, we have to judge a decision based on the process, not just the lucky outcome. Second, we have to be super wary of any strategy that produces those small, steady gains, because it might be hiding a secret risk of total ruin. It's also a powerful reminder that while hard work is absolutely necessary to even get in the game, it doesn't cause success on its own. The one thing luck, or Lady Fortuna, has zero control over is our behavior. And that leaves us with a really provocative question to think about. Who in your world, in business, in finance, in life, might just be playing Russian roulette and simply hasn't hit the loaded chamber yet? Because a long history of success isn't always a sign of skill. Sometimes it's just a sign of a massive risk that hasn't blown up yet.